Okay. Good morning, guys. How are you all doing today? Yeah. Good? That's no energy. I know it's between us and lunch right now, but come on, a little more energy. Are you guys ready? Okay, I am so excited to be moderating this panel today for some of the world's top Amazon experts. So I'll introduce them one by one, even though you probably already know them by name. The first up, we have Norman Farrar. Norman is a veteran entrepreneur with over 30 years of experience in product development, branding, and e-commerce. He is the founder of AMZ Club, where he empowers Amazon sellers with the tools and strategies needed for success in the competitive marketplace. As the host of two popular podcasts, Lunch with Norm and Marketing Misfits, Norman shares invaluable insights and interviews industry leaders to help businesses thrive online. His deep expertise and passion for mentoring have made him a trusted consultant and speaker in the digital marketing space. Norman is dedicated to fostering growth and innovation for businesses, navigating the complexities of e-commerce. Let's give it up for Norman! Next up, we have Stephen Pope. Stephen Pope is the founder of My Amazon Guy, an agency with $20 million in annual revenue and 400 plus active brands. He is the best-selling author with his book, Amazon Selling Tips. Stephen started his career as a TV reporter in Idaho, which is why he's so good on camera. And then he was an e-commerce director for 10 years for brands ranging from gold and silver coins to women's plus-size clothing. Stephen then created My Amazon Guy, an agency with 500 plus employees on growing traffic and sales on Amazon. Stephen not only owns MAG, but also My Refund Guy, 4 Amazon brands, Momsteer, and Age of Sage, Halsit, and StephenPope.com. He has been viewed by millions of people on YouTube in thousands of videos where he shows how to handle any problem faced on Amazon. Let's give him a round of applause, guys. Last but not least, we have Runda Shaher. Runda has over 7 years of expertise in e-commerce with a focus on the Amazon marketplace management across North America, the UK, DE, and Australia. As the Director of Client Success at Seller Interactive, she has played a pivotal role in elevating the agency to a top-tier position in the industry. Runda's innovative strategies have driven growth for over 300 brands, overseeing more than $100 million in revenue in our client portfolio over the years. Her leadership and dedication to nurturing talent have also empowered numerous Amazon specialists, shaping the future of e-commerce. Runda is committed to helping businesses succeed in the ever-evolving digital marketplace. Let's give a round of applause for Runda. Okay, so how this is going to work is I'm going to be directing very specific questions to each of our lovely panelists, and we'll start with Stephen. Stephen. A lot of brands in our audience are DTC native and are mostly exclusively selling on Shopify and not marketplaces. Based on your experience, how can a brand successfully translate success on Shopify to Amazon? At what stage does this even make sense? And are there specific kinds of brands that you would not recommend selling on Amazon? Take it away.
All right, thank you. So the word is they're not going to release lunch until we're out. So I know we got some time pressure here. The good news and the bad news about going from D2C to Amazon is that not every brand will succeed on both platforms. So for example, I took a cell phone case brand. It was called Casely. Some of you may have heard of them. They're one of the largest for like the preteen era. And they crush it on D2C. They hired my Amazon guy. I gave them this big speech about how it's going to blow up. It's going to match your D2C. It might even pass it someday. Lo and behold, I never got them past $20,000 a month in sales. And I was flabbergasted by this. So that's the bad news. Not every single D2C product will work on Amazon. And even the experts can't force it to happen. The good news is that most brands will succeed on Amazon. But there are some conditions. You have to have, obviously, all the standard things like a high-quality product. You got to outmarket your competition and all those normal things. But one of the most important things you have to do is understand the differences between D2C and Amazon. D2C website, you might get a 2% conversion rate. Amazon, it's like 10%. So what does that mean you should focus on? Traffic. You need to spend a lot more time focusing on traffic generation on Amazon as a platform. So that means your PPC, your SEO, your CTR, pay-per-click advertising, search engine optimization, and click-through rate. And if you do those things, you're going to be more likely to be successful.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephen, for that. All right, Runda, you're up. When I talk to 7 and 8 figure Amazon sellers about their secret to scaling to that size, there's a common theme to it. They always talk about launching new products. This might not be top of mind for, if you're already making 7 figures on Amazon, especially if you're on Shopify, but to have success on Amazon, do you always need to launch new products regularly? And what kinds of products do you think they should be launching?
Yeah. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, that's a great question. I mean, definitely launching new products is obviously going to help you grow, but it's not the only solution. On Amazon, you can do things like launching product variations, so that's different colors or sizes of your current products. Or you can also do product bundling, so it essentially is just cross-selling a bunch of your product catalog together. I would say the key, honestly, to growth on Amazon is really just making sure that you're keeping your current listings active at all times.
Have you seen sellers or clients that we've worked with where we were able to scale them from 7 to 8 figures without them having to launch new products?
Without launching brand new products, absolutely. But again, you definitely want to look into adding like variations or cross-selling, really to just make sure, again, that you are giving the customers additional options so it's not constantly the same products that they're always going back to.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Norm, I know this varies per person, per product, per category, but walk me through how you would do a new product launch today in 2024 on Amazon.
I didn't quite hear what you were saying.
Okay, I will repeat it. No worries.
Launching a product.
Launching a product from scratch in 2024.
Very good. So it's not about the launch, at least for me. It's about doing things right in the beginning. So I'm not going to get into properly optimizing your listing. There's ways to do that. You should know it. Doing some competition analysis. But your pre-launch is something that you need to do, especially if you're a brand and you're just launching a new product. One of the things that I try to do is that we'll create a website, the social media, and the reason why we're doing this is when we're launching that brand at the beginning, and if we're jumping in with 2 feet, if you're testing it out, it's a whole new ballgame. But we want to do this because you're a micro brand. You're no more than a micro brand. You're not a brand. People are going to search you out, and they're going to see whether you're trustworthy or not. And the first red flag they see, they're going to go to the next person. So one of the things that we like to try to do is build the site, build the social media, find out which social media platform you should be on by understanding who your audience is, and market to them. The other thing that we'll try to do is do a press release. Let people know that you're out there, not a cheap, crappy press release. Do something that's usually around 300 plus, where you're going to go out to really good quality media outlets. Another area that we can do, this is a really cool trick. Steve, I don't know if you do this, but one of the things that we'll do is we'll write an article, we'll put it on the website, we'll transcribe that and put it into a video format, so we'll create a script for it. And then what we'll do is we launch the press release, adding the video, embedding the video, and linking it back to the topic, whatever we're choosing. And we'll do that a few times before the actual product launches. One of the other things that we do in the listing is we try to add as much information about the product to make the customer feel trustworthy, make them feel trustworthy. And that's putting up anything compliance-wise. Instructions, you can add these in Amazon. A lot of people don't do it. And then there's what's called related video. You can create a series of videos. You can create your own thumbnails, and it looks like it's an educational carousel, where most Amazon sellers, what they'll do is they'll just let anybody put up a video there. By the way, make sure that you're going out to influencers. You can go out to companies like Rebate, Join Brands, there's a bunch of them out there, Abilio, and you can get good influencers to create whatever you want and put them on your listing. And then during the launch, like Steven said, you want traffic. So that could be PPC, that could be traffic. If you're part of the brand referral program, you have to have a trademark, you get 10% back. So you can go out to Facebook or YouTube or wherever, and you can track it, and Amazon will give you 10% credit that you can get back in a month or two. So that's during the launch. And then it's post-launch, making sure that you can follow up. And I think we can talk about that a little bit later on. But those are some of the things that I would do during a launch. You don't have to do everything. We have an SOP that probably has 50 different things, and all we do is we pick whatever ones we want, depending on the client's needs, and we drag it over to the project. So don't think you have to do everything, especially if you're on a budget.
That's awesome. Thank you for giving really helpful advice for people wanting to launch. Steven? There is a concern in the DTC community on launching on Amazon. Their worry is it will cannibalize sales from their Shopify store, and they'll end up losing more money, and they might have just made that sale anyway, so why even bother with Amazon to begin with? Should brands actually be worried about this?
No. And I'm going to be biased, so take that for what it is. But if I were to poll the audience right now, what is your conversion rate on a website? And we had everybody answer this question. They're like 1%, 1.5%, 2%. Amazon's 10%. So out of the 100 people that are going to your website, 98 of them plus are bouncing today. And of those 98, at least 10 of those guys would have bought if they could find you on Amazon. And I buy everything on Amazon. I actually went through my own personal Amazon account over the last 10 years, and the amount of items I buy on Amazon, it was in the thousands. And there's just thousands and thousands of transactions that I've done on Amazon. Even if it was $10 cheaper on a website, I still bought it on Amazon. And it's not because I was my Amazon guy, because 10 years ago I was nobody, right? And so Amazon has solved something that a lot of D2C brands still struggle with, and that is conversion rate. Since Amazon has solved for conversion, the traffic that's going to your website on Shopify today can be cannibalized by Amazon. That is a fact, yes. However, the net plus is significant, and typically what I'll see is 15% of the people that would have bought from you on Shopify will buy on Amazon. That's cannibalization by definition. However, the 10% of people who wouldn't have bought on your Shopify site will now buy on Amazon, basically 5xing your conversion rate. And if we had a debate about what's easier to grow, traffic or conversion rates, I would handedly defend that traffic is 7 times easier to double specifically on Amazon than it is to double your conversion rate on Amazon. But the opposite is true from going from D2C to Amazon. It is a 5x conversion rate by just simply going over to Amazon. Therefore, it's net positive by a long shot when you're on Amazon and D2C. And since we've established not every brand will succeed on Amazon that is currently succeeding on D2C, you just simply need to test it. Worst case scenario, you could always shut down your Amazon account or pause it or have it higher priced on Amazon or give extra benefits on the website, but net positive in my mind.
Makes sense. Thank you so much, Steven. All right, Norm. On Amazon, the game is all about ranking organically for your product's keywords. The Amazon algorithm is fascinating, to say the least, and driving outside Amazon traffic to your Amazon listing is a pretty effective ranking strategy. But if a brand has their own Shopify store, how does one decide where to drive traffic to?
All right. I just want to go back. I want to one step back.
Okay.
I forgot something really important when I was talking about optimization. One of the things you should be constantly doing when you're optimizing on Amazon is split testing. You want to split test title, you want to split test the description, and especially the price. So I just want to make sure that I mention that. And you don't have to come out at full pop. I know some brands that do, but you can lower the price to get people to perk up to buy your product. Okay, now that question. It's a great question because a lot of people are afraid to drive traffic over to their Ecom site, and that shouldn't happen. You can leverage Amazon, you can sell a product. I know there's a lot of people in the industry that says, oh, you can't do inserts. You can do inserts. The trick is that you can't have a specific insert for your Amazon product. If you're going, at least this is what my legal team told me, and I'm not a lawyer, but I can put an insert into the product as long as it's going to Walmart or any type of retail, and I'm not changing it for Walmart, you could drive it over. You could drive it over for things that are important. We rep a knife company, and we'll extend out that warranty. It might be a year. Some of the products might be lifetime. We want to register for community, so if they want to have extra service. There are other things that you can do too. Amazon owns your customer, which is completely different than if you're on your own platform, if you're doing Shopify. One of the things I would do on Shopify, if you're going to be sending products over to Amazon, there might be specific products. You don't have to sell all your products on there. And that gives the customer the chance to keep coming back. And if you've got their email address, as you know, if you're on Shopify, now you can have that extra leverage for marketing through email campaigns, product launches, promos. And by the way, if Amazon's having a Prime Day, why aren't you? Everybody knows that that's happening. Do a pre-Prime Day, take an additional 5% off, because I can guarantee you your traffic's probably going to be, it probably will fall, will be very flat, because people are waiting for these discounts. So it is absolutely imperative to use both, and even other channels. And the other thing that I should talk to you about is add a Prime Day button, or not a Prime Day button, a Buy with Prime button. People trust that. And if they like Amazon and they see that it's Buy with Prime, they're going to just trust your product that much more. But the key, have things that are available on your e-commerce site that might not be available on Amazon.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that very well thought out answer. Okay, Runda, we're wrapping up, and just because we want to give the floor to the people to ask any questions to our panel. So Runda, last question for you from me. And this will sound like a plug, everybody, so little patience there. If I can just hire an Amazon specialist myself, you can find a lot of them in Upwork, Fiverr, all that jazz, and have an internal employee, what is the advantage of actually using an Amazon agency?
Yeah, it's a good question. So with an Amazon agency, I mean, you don't just get one person. You get an entire team with different specialties, different knowledges. They've worked with different categories. So, I mean, you're going to have someone that focuses on SEO, someone that can help with your design and copywriting, an account health specialist, a PPC specialist. So again, you're having a lot of different people that can really come together to help grow and scale your brand. Whereas if you're hiring somebody internally, chances are they don't have the same knowledge as 5, 6, 7 different people. And then with an agency as well, again, you have so many eyes on the listings, eyes on the back end of the account. You really get more strategic insight from everybody to really help grow, and then an agency can really grow with your brand as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that. And with that, I'd like to open the floor to you guys to be able to ask questions to each of our panelists. I would like to ask for you to identify which one of our amazing panelists you'd like to talk to. So does anybody have any questions? Fair warning, there are flashing lights, so if anybody has any questions,
Hi, I have a question over here. This
Okay.
question is for Runda from Seller Interactive. Question, how is, for all the brands that are here, they're thinking about picking their new agency to help them accomplish their Q4 goals. Outside of the tools and the tech and the strategy, how important is finding the right culture or chemistry fit with an agency, knowing that for some of these brand owners, like this is their baby, this is their life savings, this is the future for their kids, how is picking the right agency factoring into culture fit and chemistry with that agency?
Yeah, so I would say it's super important. I mean, you definitely want to be comfortable with working with your agency. At the end of the day, we want to be partners to you. We want you to feel comfortable coming to us. So you want to make sure that we do cultivate that really good relationship between our clients and us, because again, you never want to feel like you can't come to your partner and be able to kind of express your concerns or areas that maybe you want your goals to be set that may be different than what our goals are. So I would say, yeah, it's really important. You want to make sure that you can really build that rapport, have that communication, and again, just feel confident and comfortable always going to them.
I'm going to piggyback. I use Culture Index, which is the science behind culture, and you could always ask an agency what their culture is.
Hi. I work for a health over here. I work for a health supplements brand that has both direct to consumer and also sells on Amazon. And we do better on Amazon than our direct to consumer site. But one problem that we were having is that we used to do like automated pricing on Amazon, and we were noticing that like our most premium supplement was always like heavily discounted, like over $30. And that was because other marketplaces were like having sales, and we would price match. And we decided to stop the automated pricing, but now we have the issue that we're constantly losing the buy box. And I just want to know, what is, in your opinion, what should we do moving forward? Because every time I see that we don't have that buy box, I want to die.
Norm, you want to take this one? And then
Yeah,
Stephen
sure.
can add on to it.
So, are you allowing other people to sell your product?
Yes.
Okay, so that might be a problem. A lot of the times, like we were working with this hair wax removal company, and they allowed everybody to come on. They had 23 competitors any time of the day, and they didn't have a reseller agreement that didn't allow them to come up against them on Amazon. So you can go ahead and you can allow all this competition on, and you can do your automated pricing, and you will lose the buy box once in a while. That's a choice that you're going to have to make. However, whoever's in that buy box and whoever gets traffic, like let's say you're running PPC over to them, you still get cookied. So you're the company that'll come up that they'll buy from if you're in the buy box. And I think it's still 10%. If you're 10% out, you still have the ability to come up in the buy box. But it's tough. Like you can go in and you can have somebody manually doing it without doing the automated pricing, but you're going to be in there all the time. Just allowing people to sell that product is something that you might want to think about, because you're going to constantly be just, I don't want to say cannibalizing yourself, but the other thing about this too is your brand. So if you have a really prestigious brand, or if you want to provide perceived value, and something's supposed to be $30 and you're selling it for $19, and you're going out with all the really cheap brands, your perception in the industry is going to drop. Does anybody else?
There's no Amazon solution for your problem. This is a distribution question that Amazon does not care about. And so Norm is right. It's all about map pricing agreements, and you have to police it yourself. So you can do transparency program, you could track your boxes, you could try and shut these guys down, you could file IP infringements. Very much a whack-a-wolf situation. Better to just police the distribution prior to Amazon and enforce map harshly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Norman, Stephen.
Hello, hi there. My question is about reviews. A lot of people on Amazon shop based on reviews. Reviews matter a lot on Amazon. So if you're just starting out, say a new product, something new, how do you build that? What are some strategies to build reviews fairly quickly so your listing gets more traction?
Runda, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, the first thing would be requesting reviews through Amazon. So with all of your orders that go out, you can go in and then request reviews. Another good thing, I think Norm also mentioned it earlier, is working with influencers. So if they can kind of promote your product and then have their sort of fan base kind of go in and buy the product, leave reviews as well. If you do have like the means as well, you can do like off Amazon email marketing, stuff like that, to really just kind of push that initial launch with your reviews.
You want to add to it?
I think reviews don't matter, and I'm going to be in the minority on this question, but as a case in point, I launched a mom box for Mother's Day with 0 reviews. I did $144,000 in the first 30 days. I was ranked #1 for the gift term, Gifts for Mom, 2 days before Mother's Day, and I only had 1 review by that point. So I think reviews are overblown. Amazon is hostile to review gen in 2024. You can't put anything related to reviews in your product inserts. You can't send an email asking for reviews. I think people should stop trying to generate reviews and start trying to generate sales. So instead of worrying about spending money generating reviews, lower your price, just get sales in the door when you first launch. I recommend 50% off when you launch your product. Every 50 units in sales you get, raise the price 5 to 10% until you get it up to that 100% parity. If you do that in a launch strategy, your honeymoon is going to go very well.
Awesome.
I wasn't sure, did you mention Vine?
Nobody has.
No.
No?
I
Okay,
didn't.
so that's the other thing. If you're just launching right out of the gate, very inexpensive now to enroll in the Vine program, VINE, and you'll get 30 reviews. And then I agree with Stephen that a lot of these reviews will come organically. We usually will try to go out to some influencers and micro-influencers, people that are lower than 10,000 people, and usually that'll work too. We'll get some reviews that are starting. It's not 100% a prerequisite, but it does help.
Hi, over here. There we go.
Right in the light.
The lights are blinding us, so
Okay.
apologies for
I'm here.
not looking in the right direction.
Thanks for the panel. I have a question in terms of expanding into the U.S. and U.S. Amazon, U.S. FBA. We sell on FBA in the U.S. and it's going really well. We're looking at how we can expand that. And specifically from a logistics perspective, I've been hearing and getting a lot of emails about AWD, the Amazon Warehousing and Distribution, which seems interesting as an interim point between us and the FBA warehouse. I was wondering if any of the panel have any experience with AWD, any feedback, that'd be super helpful.
Stephen, go ahead.
I've got mixed feedback on Amazon's warehousing. So I actually did a video where I quoted a customer who had a terrible experience, and I've also had lots of people email me and say they've had great experiences. The advantage seems to be lower cost in some instances, as well as just the ease and the trackability, and the onus is on Amazon to not mess it up. However, in the video that I published on YouTube last year about AWD, I had a customer who Amazon lost their entire container and refused to refund them or reimburse them. So it's a full gambit, but to be honest, I think you could say this about any distribution company ever. So I don't know if Amazon's any unique to that, but I do have to give Amazon props. We think of Amazon as a marketplace, right? It's a great place to buy things, and you can buy anything on Amazon. You can buy unicorn meat on Amazon. But what you can't understand necessarily about Amazon until you go really deep is they're really a logistics company. So they have to get logistics right, and so that's why I would say it's worth testing. But everybody's going to have a different experience, and you may have a great experience, you may not have a good one. But at the end of the day, Amazon is a warehousing and logistics company. That's why they're the number one. That's why they're half the economy in the U.S. So I would give it a go if I were you.
Runda, Norm, anything to add? No?
I would say just be careful. I'm a Canadian, and I've had brands that I had registered in Canada, and the Canadian shipping and logistics is horrible. Like to ship something very small, under or 5 ounces, to Sault Ste. Marie, $23, and I'm selling it for 10. Doesn't quite make sense. But in the States, it's a lot different. One of the things I just want to point out is that having a company in the U.S., a lot of Canadians have a problem with the way that they're setting it up. I know this is a little bit off track, but it's bloody important. If you're a Canadian and you're trying to set up an LLC in the States, you're going to have huge tax implications if you try to sell your brand. So I've gone through it. I've sold the brand. The deal fell through because I didn't set up my initial company properly. So just be careful. There's a lot of accountants and tax consultants that can give you proper advice. I know this is off down a different rabbit hole, but it's important.
Awesome. Thank you for that additional insight. Yep. Oh. Go ahead.
Yeah. My mom calls me Steve. Yes.
And so that's been definitely true for us. I would say opening up Amazon as a channel has enabled scale at some level. And so now it's like 40% of our revenue, and we do multi-7 figures.
Congrats on that.
My question for you, though, is right now all of our traffic really is driven by Meta to Shopify, and then everything that goes into Amazon is basically spillover. But for let's say I was interested in scaling Amazon further, but I was predominantly interested in paid media, like paid acquisition tactics on Amazon to scale. I guess I'm curious to hear if we're only doing, let's say, PPC on Amazon to try to scale that further, what should our expectations be on how far we can actually push that without doing things like you mentioned, I don't know, SEO and whatever else was in there?
How much a month do you spend on PPC?
I think it's like $4,000 on Amazon.
$4,000? Okay.
Yeah, and but for context, on Facebook, it's like multi-six figures.
Okay, got it. So until you are probably in the $50,000 a month standpoint, you probably haven't even scratched the surface on Amazon sponsored products. So I usually say DSP, demand side platform for Amazon, isn't even worth doing until you spend $50K a month on Amazon, and that is really strong in itself, but it's a little bit higher up in the funnel. So if you're only spending $4,000 on Amazon, you're in the six figures on Meta ads. The chances of sponsored products on Amazon being able to maintain or match the ROAS and ROI of what you're seeing on Meta is very strong.
Okay.
Now, here's where a lot of people set up their ads wrong on Amazon. They spend a lot of time doing exact match, and they're like, oh my gosh, my clicks are $3 a pop, and my ACOS is 100%. And I recommend putting a budget of somewhere between 50 to 80% of your Amazon ads budget behind broad match and auto campaigns. And the reason a lot of people don't do this is because everybody's been taught that exact match is you're going to get exactly what you're looking for. There's just a lot of problems with that, but in short, Amazon exact match is no longer exact match, it's exact-ish match. And Amazon is giving a discount, better ACOS, and broader conversions in broad and auto campaigns. They're just mismanaged by most brands, and they don't add negation. So if I was going to give like really fast PPC tips, don't negate good keywords. A lot of people talk about negating a good keyword off an auto and then translating it into an exact match, but when they do that, the ACOS goes up 15 points. Keep the auto and broad match good keywords alone. Do not negate them. On the other side, negate bad keywords once a week. So if you get 20 clicks and no sales, chances are that's a keyword that's not meeting the 10% conversion rate on Amazon. Time to negate it. And then finally, segmentation. A lot of people will build like one or two campaigns. They'll put 50 keywords in that campaign and then leave it alone. The problem with that is cannibalization. 80% of the clicks will go to 5 keywords. So you need to draw up no more than 5 keywords a campaign. And so if you do those things, Amazon ads will do really well. The nice thing about Meta, to close this out, is that you can optimize and A/B test and get all these different creatives. Amazon doesn't have that same level of demographic targeting. It doesn't have that same level of design creative testing by any stretch. But what it does have is low in the funnel keyword targeting. And so sponsored products, broad match keywords will allow you to just generate a lot of sales. So give that a whirl, and good luck to you.
Awesome.
Can I add to that? So, and this is coming down to your keyword or your competitive analysis, and when you're doing research, I've had clients come to me and say they're doing so much PPC, they want to double, triple, quadruple their budget. Well, you're maxed out. I mean, we could get you a few extra sales, but it doesn't make any sense. They might do that with DSP. Oh, double it. Well, how about we just explore going up 5 or 10% at a time? The other thing, so what I meant by that is you might be plateaued at the top of your at the top of whatever you can achieve. So just be careful of that. If all of a sudden you're starting to see your ACOS is going crazy because you've increased, maybe you've plateaued and you've got to find other ways to drive new traffic over to your Amazon listing. So just be careful with that.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question.
Yeah, we just have one question in the middle here.
Hi, this is for Steven from Amazon Guy. Curious to know your thoughts on AI in the Amazon space, specifically AI tools used for ads and dynamic pricing.
So I am not a fan of AI. I think I'm actually, quite frankly, tired of hearing about the latest and greatest AI hack that we hear at every single conference ever. But what I will say is this, is that the pilot or the human pilot will always beat the robot if they know how to pilot. And AI and when it comes to like PPC automation is really good at lowering costs, no question about it, but they're really bad at growing an account. They're really bad at trying to figure out a strategy. So the one thing that I do use AI for is to take a list of keywords and chop it up into 100-character alt text to put into my A+ content. So one of the fastest ways to grow organic traffic on Amazon today is by putting copy in the A+ content that is crawlable outside of images, because the AI is not quite smart enough to read the copy in the images today. That could change by next year. Rufus, or whatever dog name they want to call AI next year, could make it happen. But alt text, that's the code behind the images, is a great place to use AI. So what I would do is I'd take a tool like Helium 10 or Jungle Scout. I get my 50,000 keyword export out of all the top 10 ASINs, run it through a tool like Frankenstein, which takes out all of the duplicate words, and then I'm left with 5,000 characters. Then I go to AI and I'll say, AI, chop this up into 30 100-character alt text following the My Amazon Guy strategy, and there's some rules behind that, and then I'll go copy and paste it in. And if you do some things like that, AI will save you some time, but it won't build a strategy, if that makes sense.
You can use it with translation as well. So Canada, French, US, Spanish.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. I think I'd like to thank all our speakers for today for showing up here. Everybody, let's give them a round of applause.